Hello, my name is Jaylene Nicole Cabrera. This is my portfolio on my process and creation. I'm from Oakland Park, Florida. I am a Cuban American artist. Throughout my childhood, I was always around the water and studying ecology and biodiversity. What that looks like for me was I grew up behind a lake and I was always fishing. I had about 5 fish tanks and I was always aquascaping and studying the life cycle of the fish I captured and the fauna and flora. In high school, I went to an environmental science magnet program studying the Everglades and restoration practices. So I studied the water cycle and the beach in Fort Lauderdale and the Everglades restoration. A lot of my field trips look just like this, where we would walk around parks and the Everglades and look at the wildlife. I was really blessed to be able to go on vacation and go camping in a variety of places. So I went to Key Largo and Florida Keys and Peanut Island, and I would just catch all of the native species in those areas, so the pufferfish and the different types of ecology in there. I was really interested in just the life cycle and the fauna and flora. My inspirations now are similar, but it's more on the humanity from the environment. So I'm interested in how humanity and the environment interact with each other. I'm interested in coincidences and the duration of spaces and textures that I find in public places and interior design. Again, with my inspirations, a lot of it is up to chance and finding the humanity in things. For instance, the wall on the right was in Georgia, just handprints on a wall, and when I looked at it, I felt connected to the space because humanity is always present, or there's always something present in the space that relates back to people and the environment. So I scavenge a lot of my materials because using found materials connects me to my space and being purposeful with my materials. So if I make an abstract piece that's full of fluidity and gesture, I'll use tree branches. I'll use light colors from nature. I'll use shadows. These are all from nature and they unify my piece to be of the landscape. So my pieces have a theme. I'll put my mind in the headspace of that theme. So I'll listen to the noises from outside. I'll create all of my own materials. For instance, this spread was for materiality and process and the Maverick. They're coming up. So my automatic art making process, I use my intuition to guide me. First I create a Pinterest board and I take a bunch of images and I put them in one cohesive document and I reference that when I'm looking at my work. Or I'll tack up a bunch of pictures on the wall and I'll work with that image in mind and keep referencing what I'm looking at while I'm creating. So materiality and process, this was created out of materials that I've made and scavenged. For instance, the wires were all landscaping flags that I took apart and I burned the material. The only thing I didn't use out of this piece was paper. Everything else was handmade. I used stencils that I found, buckets. I hand sewed all of the wire and all of the thread. I used a abandoned beehive for some of the stencils. So connecting my work to the environment makes me feel connected to the space. I often diminish my own needs when I'm creating these works. For instance, I won't take care of myself because I am so focused on these works to get whatever vision is in my head out. Again, this is Materiality or Maverick. I created with Materiality in Process. I used tree branches for this work. I built up a lot of layers over time. There's some detail shots. The way I see her is a painting of a friend of mine. I created her psyche of how I see her. The underpainting was made simultaneously with her. I was teaching her automatic art making techniques. I used shadows from trees. I traced them, and I use a lot of projectors to transfer my images. But yeah, I just used my intuition to guide my art making process. I was really gestural, and it was pretty liberating just letting my hand flow as it did, and to create just unique approaches to this medium. It's oil painting. This is Compulsion Bad Habits. It's mixed media. This is capturing the psyche of a distressed state. This was a really fun piece. I did it in a night. It just captures the sporadic energy from creating this work. So on my overlooked spaces, I am looking to what I see every day and just taking a deeper dive into the things I see around me and appreciating them. So I create scenes from books. This is Sycamore Tree. This is a tree study. This is Overwhelmed. It's a Pinterest board, and it's just reiterating how I feel about being in a space. AutoZone bathroom. It's revamping how I feel in an AutoZone bathroom at the time. I was very angsty, and I walked on this work. It was a very dirty piece. But thank you so much for coming and seeing my presentation. Here's my website and my email. Please follow me on Instagram.